PR Connections Radio presents. This episode of Thinking into Results is brought to you by Classy Communications PR and Advertising. Classy Communications provides public relations and marketing solutions for businesses, professionals, and nonprofit organizations. They can deliver the true meaning of your business with press releases, social media marketing, web development, email marketing, book publishing, and much more. Wherever your potential clients are, they can help you connect with them. Visit classycommunications.net to learn more about their suite of services that can help your business stand out from the rest. Classy Communications is your solution for business success.
I guess you can be very successful without one, and probably some people do. But I would not have accomplished anywhere near what I have accomplished without a mentor. I have had a number of mentors, and my whole life has changed dramatically. I went from going nowhere to having a business that operates all over the world. If you want to win in a big way, you want to get a mentor. It's almost like getting a direct pipeline from their mind to your mind, where you're gaining all their wisdom, all their experience, and all the studying that they've done over a number of years. And like that, you get it all in a short period of time. Are mentors important? Well, I'm going to tell you, mentors literally changed the course of my life. Let's take a look at what thinking into results is and what it could do for you, how it came about. You see, my life had changed dramatically. I went from earning nothing to earning over $1 million a year. And I was sitting one day and I was thinking, how did all this happen? Do you know, I was reading Think and Grow Rich. I was studying Earl Nightingale's material. But a lot of people have read those books and studied Earl's material. And they weren't accomplishing what I was accomplishing. So I had to ask myself, what am I doing so different? You see, I had been raised to believe if you're going to earn a lot of money, you've got to be really smart. I was earning over $1 million a year, and I didn't think I was that bright. I was also raised to believe if you don't go to school, you can't win. Well, I hadn't gone to school. I went to high school for about 2 months. I didn't have a good job. I owned the entire company. If you want to be happy, healthy, and prosperous, it's all here. Thinking into results is going to show you how to get it. If what I've said really triggered something in your mind and you're thinking maybe, contact the certified PGI consultant, hit the button, leave the information, do yourself a favor, sit down and talk to them about what this program can do for you. This very well could be the decision that will change the rest of your life.
Well, thank you, Bob. Good afternoon. My name is John Gage. Unfortunately, my co-host Sid Maestri, he's not able to be with us today. So on behalf of Sid and myself, I want to thank you for tuning in to Thinking into Results, presented by S&J Mentoring, where we show you how to accomplish your goals. And today we're discussing persistence. One of these days I'll learn how to speak. We're discussing persistence, faith fuel. And we talked about faith last week and how it's really kind of the cornerstone of accomplishing your goals, because without faith, you don't learn how to believe. You don't know, and you can't change your subconscious so that it sees the reality of what you see, your vision, your dream, the things you want. And just kind of a recap, you have to be consistent. You have to constantly talk to yourself. You have to constantly make your mind and make the decision for your mind to accept what you're searching for. And today I kind of wanted to talk about some examples of that rather than just talk about what faith is and how it works and why persistence is necessary. We talked last week a little bit about Barnes, who wanted to become partners with Thomas Edison. And he was willing to take whatever menial job he wanted to do to become partners, because he saw that as accomplishing his goals. He showed up with no money, in rags, worked for 5 years sweeping floors, and the whole time, all he saw was getting closer to his goal. He didn't see himself as just another worker. The whole time, he saw himself as a partner. And there are all kinds of stories out there that talk about faith and persistence. Like R.U. Darby. R.U. Darby had discovered a gold vein in California, during the gold rush times, when everybody was running over there trying to make a quick buck. When $1 million is a lot of money, which it still is now, but it's not as much money as it was back then. And he found a gold vein. He was so adamant that this was going to produce and produce and produce that he borrowed money from friends, neighbors, relatives, got all the equipment he needed. It was producing. He started paying the loans back, started making a little money, and all of a sudden the vein just stopped. And he lost hope. He lost faith that this was going to produce. And instead of trying to figure out, okay, well, I'm sure that something's wrong or something different needs to be done, because we've talked about that too. You look at your goal's there. Sometimes the plan changes. And they just kind of lost all hope and sold the equipment to, a prospector that went, I'm going to have a geologist come out here and look at it. The geologist looked at it. He paid him a couple $100, and the geologist said, "Oh yeah, it was just 3 feet over. If they would have just moved over 3 feet, they'd have hit the gold vein." And this prospector became a multimillionaire simply because he was persistent and moved forward. And another example of persistence is Henry Ford. The V8 engine. If you're my age, V8 engines were, you know what I mean, having a nice, powerful V8 in your car, like my truck. I got a nice big V8 in it, and I just love the sound of it. I love it when it starts, the way the motor just kind of rumbles and it vibrates the truck just a little bit. It feels good. Feels manly. But we wouldn't have that if it wasn't for Henry Ford, because they were able to make 4 cylinders consistently. And he wanted a single casting for a V8. And the scientists were saying, we can't do it. We can't do it. And he's like, nope, I'll have it. It's done. Just keep at it. That's all you do. And it's all they did for 18 months was try to figure out how to make a V8 motor. And then one day, it just clicked, because they sat back and went, oh, that's what we need to do. And today we have V8s all over the world. V8 is a wonderful motor, and you see them everywhere. But if it wasn't for the persistence of Henry Ford, we wouldn't have that beautiful motor today. And I give all these as examples of people who have been successful. But I kind of want to talk a little bit about me and how having faith and being persistent about it has made me the happiest person on the planet. Because in 2019, I'd been married for 30 years, and all of a sudden that ended abruptly. I mean, not just abruptly, it ended just like, and it was done. I didn't even know why. And you know, I'm sure everybody involved had their reasons, and that's okay. But at the time, I was having a lot of medical issues. So I was unable to work, and I had to figure out how to live with a heart rate of 125 beats per minute all the time. And I had to get that solved first. So, of course, I'm also depressed. 30 years of marriage gone, and all of a sudden you're like, okay, what do I do now? I'm 54 years old. Where do I go from here? Oops, I just told you my age. Sorry. Well, that's all right. And at 54, I had to start all over again. Well, that's pretty depressing. And I went through a couple of months where I just didn't want to do anything. And I started looking at thinking into results again. Started looking at that, going, okay, well, what do I want? What do I want out of my life? What do I want more than anything right now? And I slept on it. It took a couple of weeks just to figure out what I wanted out of life. And what I finally decided is I just wanted to be happy. I wasn't happy. I was gaining weight. I was being lethargic. I was allowing these negative thoughts in all the time. And it wasn't productive at all. So I started working at, okay, what's it mean for me to be happy? What makes me happy? Does, sitting around playing video games, does that make me happy? Well, not really. Going fishing, that makes me happy. Paying my bills, that actually makes me happy. And I wasn't able to pay my bills there for a while. I finally found a job. I was making pretty good money and going along and still having to deal with the things that were going on with the divorce. I had a couple of car accidents on top of that. Right after that, I had 2 car accidents, and they damaged my shoulder. So I was seeing the doctor. I was going through a lot of medical issues. And while I'm working, I'm trying to take care of my mother, who lived with me and couldn't really do a whole lot for herself. So I have all these responsibilities that I'm trying to balance. And I just want to be happy. So I kept thinking, what makes me happy? Started listening to certain music. That doesn't make me happy. Finally found some music that actually made me happy. Started realizing I like working. That actually makes me happy. Then I discovered cigars. Cigars make me very happy. It's a very relaxing, social thing to do. So I started social interacting with people and realized that social interaction was making me happy. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to keep doing this. And of course, things would come up like that would interfere, because life happens. And I'm like, you know what? I'm still going to go do that. So I was going out, hanging out with friends. I was, socializing. I was starting to get back into actually feeling good about myself. And like every goal, there's always something that gets in the way. Remember, we talked about that fear barrier? It may not necessarily be a fear barrier, but there's going to be things that get in your way. And one of those is I got very ill, even more so than the heart condition. And I was talking to this lovely lady who I'm now married to. And she became a goal too, by the way. We'll talk about that here in a minute. But I got so sick, and I still don't know what was causing it, and the doctors still don't know. But I gained weight really quick, put on a lot of water weight. I went to the hospital. In 8 months, I went to the hospital 12 times. So I'd lost my job. I could barely walk. The last stint in the hospital was 2 months. From January 15th, and I got out March 18th. And I remember distinctly, and I remember that day distinctly. And because they told me that I would never be off oxygen and that I would have trouble walking again, probably never walk normal again. And for those of you who understand medical terms, it was 9 liters of oxygen, which the machine's practically breathing for you at that point. So I'm going to back up a little bit. During this time, I'm talking to my wife. But at the time, she was just a girl that I knew and enjoyed talking to. And of course, I was going through a lot. And every time I talked to her, I realized I'm happy. And it didn't matter how my day went. It didn't matter what I thought about. It didn't matter what happened to me physically. When I talked to her, I was happy. And I'm like, So we continued to talk. And we would talk on video chat, which was nice. And I decided that I liked this happiness. And this is what was making me truly happy, was this wonderful, beautiful woman that took the time out of her life, just like you're taking the time now to listen to this story, took the time out of her life to talk to me. And she was sincere. And we could tell each other anything. It was interesting because after a year, I knew more about her than I did my ex, who I was married to for 30 years. I thought, well, dang. Well, so I'm going to keep pursuing this. I'm going to keep talking to her. And even when I got sick and was on an oxygen tube, she would still talk to me. And she, of course, was concerned because, I was going in and out of the hospital. And we still weren't together. 2 years have gone by. Yeah. 2 years, almost to the day. And I go into the hospital for the 2-month stint. And I mean, I'm really sick, guys. I couldn't breathe. Apparently I had what's called hypoxia. I don't know if you know what that is, but your lungs aren't expelling carbon dioxide. It's extremely poisonous. This is what happens when you inhale too much carbon monoxide from a car. And that's what was happening to me. And I didn't know that. And here I am trying to be happy and trying to improve my life. And I'm trying to improve my life. I want to be a better person than I was, because I realized that being a better person and investing the time in myself was making me a better human being and better to my friends. It was making me, everybody I met, I was able to improve their day. It was amazing. And it's an amazing feeling when you start realizing that what I'm doing, and all I'm doing is just trying to get these results. And I'm thinking, and every day I concentrate, okay, what do I need to do today? And I would pick up my card, I would read it. Oh, okay, that's what I'm doing today. And I would concentrate on being happy, even when I was in the hospital. Well, with the exception of the time that they had me in a coma. That wasn't any fun. Of course, I came out of that, and I was in it took me the rest of the 2 months just to learn to breathe again and learn and get all of this stuff back. When I got out of the hospital, my lovely wife, who was just my friend at the time, said she was going to come out and see me. And that moment was the biggest turning point in my life, because I was like, I was about to give up. You know, I don't know that this is going to happen. I just want to be happy, so I'm going to have to figure out another way to be happy. But I had determined I wanted to be with her for the rest of my life, and was intentionally doing things to change who I was by my choice to be the man that she would be happy to have in her life. And I'm fortunate that this happened. But back to the story. She tells me she's coming out in a couple of months. I'm like, okay, well, I've got this stupid tube that's running from my nose, and I have to sleep with it. I have to wear it around my nose all day long. I can barely walk from the bedroom to the living room just to sit and watch TV. And I'm like, this is not acceptable. I started digging into Thinking and Results more. I started reading Think and Grow Rich, reading The Power of Positive Thinking, all of these books on thinking. And I decided, I had an appointment with the doctor a couple of weeks after I got out. And he says, look, it looks like you're going to be on oxygen for the rest of your life. And I said, no, that is not going to happen. That's an unacceptable scenario. And my doctor looked at me and said, yeah, but dude, your condition dictates specifically that this isn't going to happen. I'm like, it's not acceptable. So persistent kicks in, because at the moment I really don't believe that I'm not going to get off oxygen, but that's my goal now. So I start looking at videos on YouTube on how to breathe. I start researching on how to breathe and start doing breathing practices, which I still practice to this day. And within 3 weeks of starting practicing these, I was able to reduce my oxygen. In a month and a half, I was completely off the oxygen. And I still had a few more weeks before my wife, or then my friend at the time, was going to get here. And during this time, I'm driving Uber in Las Vegas. Okay, so I didn't gamble with anything but other people's lives at the time. But and that was a fun job. So it gave me a lot of time in between to listen to these books and take time to myself. And this is where persistent kicks in, because if you're not persistent and consistent with insisting on changing who you are to accomplish your goals, your dreams, the things that you want to happen to you, it's never going to happen. And if you stop 3 feet from the goal, that's the only time you fail. And I continued doing this. I was using a walker at the time and driving Uber. And by the time she arrived, I was still using the walker, and then she was going to go visit some friends for about a week. And during that time, I spent that week learning how to walk without the walker completely. And by the time she came back, I could walk without the walker for about 100 yards. And so we went on our first date. And then I took her to the airport, and we didn't kiss. I know that's another story in and of itself. But that one date, that effort that I put into that, allowed me to find the woman of my dreams, literally, and make me the happiest man on the planet. And everything started getting better. And all of a sudden we decided that we're going to become a couple. Well, I live in Las Vegas. She lives on the East Coast. So we decide to make a big move, and she lives on the Northeast coast. So I have to move about 3,500 miles, and she has to move 1,000, because we settled on a location where we're at currently. And I'm starting to get a little nervous. I'm starting to go, okay, what happened? Is this the right thing? Is this going to work? It needs to work. The reason it needs to work is because it makes me happy. So I literally leave everything I own, with the exception of a few things behind me and the computer I'm using, and I drive all the way out here to be with her. And I tell you what, it's the best goal that I've ever achieved in my life. And now I get to look at doing more and more and have the happiest time doing it. All because I chose to be persistent, and I had faith it was going to happen. Without the persistence, faith is kind of useless. Persistence gets your faith going. It gives it fuel to cause their subconscious to go, oh, this is real. Your subconscious kicks in and goes, this has got to happen. How does that happen? And with the persistence to push forward always towards your goal, even if it's one little thing a day, you're moving forward. Your goal is getting closer. And the more you do that, the more faith you have it's going to happen, the more you believe it's going to happen, and the more things happen to cause it to happen. I know it's a lot of happenings, right? But it's the truth. And it took me 55 years to figure that out. But you know what? I'm glad I did, because now I can help you accomplish your dreams. I want to just thank everybody for sharing your time with me and allowing me to share this story. I know it was a bit personal, but I wanted everybody to understand that just because things get so bad and you hit rock bottom, when they say the only way to go is up, it's the truth. But it's up to you. You have to do it. And don't be afraid to ask for help along the way. My beautiful wife was helping me at the time. I would ask her, hey, I'm having trouble with this. Can you help me out with it? Sure, she would help me out with it. It was a wonderful, and it still is a wonderful relationship. So if you wish to learn more, please contact us at S&J Mentoring, and the website is www.sj-mentoring.com, www.sj-mentoring.com. Please go there, fill out the contact form. We'll be more than happy to have a conversation. We'll get back to you, and we can help you accomplish your goals. So please like and share, and be sure to join us next week. We're going to continue our 13-part series on the 13 steps to success. And next week, it's self-talk. Self-talk. Told you, I got to learn. Self-talk, auto-suggestion, your way to success. And remember, S&J Mentoring, we show you how to accomplish your dreams. Have a wonderful day, guys, and thank you for joining me.
PR Connections Radio thanks you for watching this podcast. Check out more episodes of this show and our others at prconnectionsradio.com.